Hi there, good friends. Hopefully you are well wherever you are. The English Premier Soccer League has come to an end, and eventually it was Manchester City winning the league, peeping Arsenal on the last day of the competition. And for everyone was thinking that Arsenal were going to steal it, and it was going to be a miracle. So they thought, the Ghana supporters. The last game they were playing against Everton at home, and Manchester City were playing also at home against the Hammers, that is West Ham. But if you want to be analytical and want to look at the English Premier Soccer League this past season, I mean, Arsenal lost the league title when they were beaten at home by Aston Villa. That game, I still remember it. It was new in the first half, and Arsenal were really playing so well. So in the second half, I think they tried to force it too much. And in the second half, with 10 minutes to go, well, it was Bailey scoring the first goal. Then in the last minutes, from a corner kick, Yuri Tillemans with a long pass, which well, the man who has been so devastating for Aston Villa, who will be playing Champions League football next season, that is Ollie Watkins scoring to make it 2-0. So from then on, they were clutching on thin straws. Arsenal going on some very good run. There's some very, very difficult matches because they had to go to Wolverhampton. And people were saying they are going to drop points, but they did so well. There's been something about this Arsenal side. They went on to play against Tottenham Hotspurs. They are rivals, and after 30 minutes, they were leading by 3 goals to nil. Tottenham, but Tottenham started to come back into the game, but it was a little bit too late, too little, too late. Then they went on to play against Manchester United in the second last game. They were playing away from home. I mean, it's always a big fixture when Manchester United played against Arsenal, but not this United, which has been flattering to deceive, finishing eighth on the log. So when they lost against Aston Villa, I mean, they gave the impetus to City, who are really ruthless when it comes to the running. So they played City, that is Manchester City. They played their game in hand against Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, that first half was absolutely, absolute nail biting with everything, the pace, the intensity. But the fact that Tottenham didn't utilize their chances in the first half, especially the man Rodrigo Bentancur, who had a chance in the first half, but he couldn't bury it. It was a matter of time because for a team like Manchester City, once they get their chance, they are going to kill you. So in the second half, City, Erling Haaland scoring to make it 1-0 after the suspect, that is Kevin De Bruyne, KDB, supplying that pass. Then when they got the penalty in the second half, the game was as good as over. But it was telling because at 1-0, Son had a chance with the keeper to beat. And some Arsenal fans I was watching on the fans forum, they were saying that he did it purposely to miss that goal. But deservedly, Manchester City have made history. No team have won the league 4 times in a row. They won the treble last season. Who last season they were the world's best team. But also this season, I think it's between them and Real Madrid. But kudos to Manchester City. I mean, is it becoming a farmers' league like in the Bundesliga where Bayern Munich have been doing it, or in the Scottish league where Celtic has been winning the league continuously? But well, our eyes were on the FA Cup. That was the last match of the season this last weekend. That is on a Sunday. I mean, it was pointing to a Manchester City victory. I mean, they're such a very good side. And you look at the season which Manchester United have had, no one gave them a chance. I'm a United fan, and I never gave them a chance. I was thinking, with how they have played, no structure. I mean, everything has been bad for Manchester United. Of course, the manager has cried about the injuries, and he has played 25 combinations at the back in 30 games at one time. He has never fielded his first 11, which he admires. But I mean, one can argue that the players who play for Manchester United, no matter who is playing, you are good enough to go on and play in a structured way, and United has never done that. So coming into the league, the game, the FA Cup final, I mean, we could hear that ERIK ten Hag was going to be fired after the FA Cup, and I think it's disrespect. I mean, the fans are divided. There are some who want ERIK ten Hag to go, but the majority of Manchester United fans, they want him to stay so that he can continue with this project. But United has never finished eighth position. I mean, in the English Premier Soccer, like this was their worst ending season in terms of the points and log. And I mean, coming into this final, I mean, was Manchester United going to win it? I mean, I was optimistic as a United fan. I know most United fans were not sure that the team was going to win. But if I looked at that lineup, you could see the dress rehearsal to that match, because in the last 2, 3 games, I could see something was coming up in the way they were compact, because we saw Bruno and Scott McTominay playing as false number 9, doubling up to run beyond, which means that they were going to be narrow. And the wide wingers, that was Ahmad and Alejandro Garnacho, were playing. But in the final, Rashford was preferred to play in front of Ahmad, who has had a very good cameo end of the season. For Rashford, I mean, it was deja vu for him, and especially to win the FA Cup after a disappointing season. And you know that there are the Euros which are coming on in June, the Euro 2024, which is going to be hosted in Germany. So Marcus Rashford has been left out of Gareth Southgate's England side. So it has been a bitter pill to swallow for Marcus Rashford, criticized by fans alike and fans for his club, Manchester United, that he doesn't put effort enough. Coming into the match, as I said, United were compact. They never allowed City to play their free-flowing football. Like every side which play against the City, you know that you are going to suffer the whole game, because City are so dangerous. They control the ball, they manipulate the ball, especially with Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden, who was playing on the wing but coming inside to allow Gravio, the Croatian young left back, who has had a very, very brilliant debut season, hogging the line. So Rodri, the best defensive midfielder in the world at the present moment. How was Manchester United going to fare? But full credit to ERIK ten Hag, and I think they were the best team of the day. They deserved to win. Was it because of the tactics of ERIK ten Hag, or it was because City were off the mark? Maybe it was the effects of a long season, or maybe they celebrated a lot after winning the league, and United scoring 2 goals in the first half. The first one, it was a long ball from Diogo Dalot, whom I think has had a very, very good season for United, hoofing the ball forward, and Gravio made a mistake. They didn't communicate very well with Ortega, the Manchester City goalkeeper. Yes, Ortega was the goalkeeper. Then the back pass, Alejandro Garnacho scoring the empty net, to much delight of Manchester United fans. I could feel wherever United fans were, they were celebrating about that goal. But the second goal was something of a beauty. I mean, they started the move. Kobe Maino and Bruno. I mean, I have to put my hand off to my hands high to Bruno Fernandes. I mean, he has been a colossus for United, criticized so many times of the wastefulness which he does at times, but he's the only lighting a light in this Manchester United side. Two teenagers aged 19 years old, Alejandro Garnacho and Kobe Maino, who was the man of the match. For a young player of his talent, the composure, the maturity which he has playing in that midfield, where he had to contend with Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Kovacevic, which is Kovacic with his experience, Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva also. I mean, he has not had help in that midfield. He was paired together with Sofian Amrabat. Surprise, surprise. Sofian Amrabat has had a very good ending of the season. United scored their second goal. That disguised pass from Bruno Fernandes. Kobe Maino making it a 2-0 going to halftime. In the second half, you kind of knew that City were going to come back strongly, but United held strong. Obviously, they've had this centre back last season. I mean, of Lisandro Martinez and the departing Rafael Varane. They were the best defenders in the English Premier Soccer League, because they kept more clean sheets last season. United have not had the luxury of playing them throughout the season, maybe 1 or 2 games. You could see how important Licha Martinez is in terms of passing between the lines and his leadership. And one thing which I noticed, if you saw that video, when they were celebrating, you should look for that video. Alejandro Garnacho was kissing his badge. Then Licha Martinez calls him, let us go back and concentrate. And also he was doing it in front of the Manchester City fans. So that's what leadership is all about. So you ask yourself, where was this Manchester United throughout the season? Where were they? They have been total shambles, no structure, no way of playing. They've been easy to play against. You don't see what is happening now with Ineos. I mean, talking to other managers, they have not backed ERIK ten Hag. I mean, if they backed him, They could come out. They could have come out in the open and said, "We are backing this manager," but they have not done that. So, which is really, really disrespect. But we're waiting to see these next few years if they have said that they will be reviewing that. Erik Ten Hag stays in the job. For me, I've always said that Erik Ten Hag in. So it depends if Ineos, because they are coming in, probably they would love to have their men there in charge of the proceedings at Manchester United, and their names which have been thrown into the head. Thomas Tuchel, formerly of Bayern Munich, who couldn't extend his contract there. Mauricio Pochettino, who was coaching Chelsea, and it was a surprise for us that he was fired by Chelsea. Remember, 2 years ago, Mauricio Pochettino was the front runner to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but Erik Ten Hag was the overwhelming choice after impressing the likes of Ed Woodward, Methog, and Richard Arnold. But now, I mean, after 2 years, after this disastrous season, Ineos are saying they've come in, they've bought 25% of the shares of Manchester United, but they are in charge of football. And obviously, like everywhere, the new owners want to start their own project with their new manager. But I don't see Ten Hag staying. But there's a backlash because most of the fans love Ten Hag. So it's going to be a backlash. This is a critical decision for Ineos because it's a free hit. For me, I think it's a free hit. If they keep Ten Hag on, he's got a contract to go. It's a project. If Ten Hag doesn't do well, they are relaxed in years because they will say, "We gave you a chance, you didn't do it. You've got a new structure. We've bought one or two players. The players are back from injury." But imagine they fire him. He's loved by fans. They bring a De Zerbi, a Pochettino, a Tuchel, and it doesn't work out. So imagine what the fans will do. So for me, but it's not for me to decide what they are going to do. But for me, I would rather keep Ten Hag, give him some new players, and let us see with this new structure which they have, players back from injury. But I think they've decided it's 50-50. You never know. And the fact that they've not come out to back him, I was really surprised by Sir Jim Ratcliffe when he issued a statement after the final, congratulating Manchester United players and staff, but nothing on Ten Hag. I mean, it's shocking. You wouldn't want to do that. And the fact that most of these things were leaked to the press, that's what makes it so amateurish. But you never know. So, yeah, we'll be waiting to hear. I'll be giving you some updates on the signings, what is happening in different clubs. We hear that Chelsea have now have their coach in Enzo Maresca, who promoted Leicester City back into the Premier Soccer League. So Enzo Maresca has signed a 5-year contract at Chelsea. They fired Mauricio Pochettino. We don't know what happened there. Was it because of the misunderstanding with the owners or the expectations of the club? So we wait to see what is going to happen. So from me, Odysseus Maroa from Clutch Pabora, empowered by the Maroa new generation. Please, guys, subscribe to the channel, share this video, spread the word, tell a friend. Obviously, to tell a friend that we are nothing but the best in what we do.